listening to the Onesready podcast, a team of Air Force Special Operators forged in combat with over 70 years of combined operational experience, as well as a decade of selection instructor experience. If you're tired of settling and you want to do something you truly believe in, you're in the right place. Now here's your favorite CCT personality, JTAC extraordinaire, embracer of the ridiculous face, and like the shortest operator you'll ever meet, Peaches.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Onesready podcast. You're in the team room. Just me and Aaron today. No guest, no Brian, Trent. We miss you guys. They're enjoying their weekend off. So basically you're stuck with us. Sucks to be you.
Stuck with us, baby.
It really sucks to be you, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, we didn't promise you anything at the beginning of this. So, I mean, you're getting what you pay for. So.
Right, exactly. Hey, and keep in mind, this is free, baby. We aren't on Patreon. We aren't asking for donations. There's no GoFundMe. So listen, caveat emptor, buyer or beware, and you are the buyer here. So you didn't pay for it. That's what you get.
That's it. You're getting the generic version, if you will. So yeah, the non-name brand. So
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you subscribing. And if you're not subscribed, please go subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Leave us a review. It really helps us out in the charts. And also, we like to talk about some of our friends that we have out there. So today we'll talk about Alpha Brew Coffee Company. Alpha Brew is the owner is actually friends with Aaron. You guys have known each other for quite some time now. We've never met, but his coffee is fantastic. We've got a couple coffee companies, but Alpha Brew is one of the ones that started with us. And he's got some new stuff that's actually out there where he's kind of gone away. I don't say he's gone away from the CBD type stuff, but he has gone to a lot of the mushroom stuff. So I know he's got one for focus, and I couldn't even pretend to pronounce the names of some of these mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
Not even try.
The lion's mane is in focus. You should have picked that one. You should have been like, oh, the lion's mane focus. And then the other one, Aaron, take it away. And I'd look like the idiot.
Well, see, this one's got mushrooms in it, right? But this is the recovery one. Yeah. I just got this one. It's so smooth, dude. So smooth.
Yeah, I love it.
But fantastic.
I love Alpha Brew.
Yeah, and this one specifically is for recovery. So I'm feeling that due to my age, probably. So as I work through that, they are offering a promo code. If you use Onesready, you'll get 10% off at checkout. And then you're helping out a veteran company. You're helping out us. You're helping out, everybody. You and yourself
with the recovery. Yeah, exactly. You need that recovery. If you need that focus, it's a single blend. It's never blended, right? So it's a single bean sourced from some of the best spots in the world. That energy is clean, and when you pair it with the magic of mushrooms, not magic mushrooms, you're not microdosing. You're not going to pop positive for a drug test. One of the stows at the unit was like, "Hey, man, am I going to pop positive for a drug test?" And then I had to stop being friends with them. Like, that was it. I was like, "Damn it, Espo, you're out. You're out, Espo."
Espo is awesome.
Shout out to
okay,
Espo.
I'm gonna try and pronounce this. Cordyceps. Cordyceps. Yeah, that's.
I'm proud of you.
Says.
It looks great for me.
Looks good. Okay, so today we're going to talk about some of the stereotypes that some of our soft guys have, and maybe one of those is that they can't read mushrooms. So we'll go with that. Right. But so we appreciate everybody kind of weighing in on this. I posted a story online asking for what some of your stereotypes are on soft dudes. So we actually got some funny ones, some that won't be able to read out loud since we try and keep this somewhat PG-13 type. But
you never you always get what the internet gives you, that's a you problem, Peaches. You're the one that posted that story with the questions on it. And God forbid you actually open it up to the masses on the interwebs. But yeah, you get what you got there. You get what you deserve when you ask questions like that. So
yeah. And usually those are from people we know. I see you, ATC Peaches. So, yeah.
The worst.
But yeah, so there was actually some good stereotypes that I had a good chuckle at as I was reading them. So as we go through some of these, sit back, relax, and enjoy laughing at our expense. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and The stereotypes are, it's a funny question too, because we are really, really tribal. I know we've touched on it before, but we've made the joke. You can walk into a room and, if it's a room full of operators, you can be like, oh, look, there's the SEALs, there's the Rangers, there's the Special Forces guys. That guy's probably a PJ. It's immediately apparent. So the tribalism is definitely, there's stereotypes for a reason. You walk into a bar in Southern Pines and you see, 45, 6 foot tall, 200-pound dudes with full sleeve tattoos wearing Columbia and cool pants. Like, okay, I think I can put 2 and 2 together here.
All right, let me go ahead and cross that one off because cool pants was on here.
What, they really had to have cool pants?
Yeah, khaki cool pants.
Khaki cool pants, man. You're gonna listen. If you're ever just walking around, just a nice little Saturday, you got to have on your off-duty operator uniform because you want to make sure that everybody knows that you're an operator.
You're ready to go at any time.
That's it. The Solomons on. They're sort of dirty, sort of not. You got a nice pair of pants on. They're got to be cargo pants. They sort of, they're going to be an earth tone, I bet. You got a button-up Columbia on. Maybe that Arc'teryx, that Dead Bird Gang, if you're not mad at their woke policies as of late. You got a big watch on, maybe a whoop. And then you got a hat on. It's all frayed. It's dirty. It's filthy. And you're the gray man. Nobody knows who you are, my guy.
Golly, that's so bad. It is so true.
So I no kidding. I had a friend that I crossed paths with and I shared an apartment with it was just a thing in Landstuhl for like 2 weeks. So we were in the same apartment for about 2 weeks. And it was funny because his wife, he worked at one of the special mission units and he was like, no one is more critical than my wife. We'll be getting ready to go on a trip. And she's like, look at all you idiots. You think that you're this JSOC tip of the spear guy. You all look like you're in uniform. Nobody in the rest of the world wears baseball caps, you bunch of bearded, 6 foot tall, 200-pound white dudes. You bunch of idiots. Everybody can pick you out. She's like, you look like you're sponsored by North Face.
That is true.
Correct. I know.
All my bags are North Face.
And they all match. Like everybody's got the same 3 size bags. Everybody's like, "Oh, we're so blending in." Shut up. Ridiculous.
Oh, man. You just tune in to watch us trash ourselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, tune in this week. Right, Peaches and I make fun of ourselves. See how far the hate goes.
Oh, it goes deep. Self-loathing.
Yeah. Here's a shout out to all those meme accounts. Trick question, boys. Nobody hates me more than me. You can't on this level.
All right. Well, let's roll into the first one we received. So everyone's an Olympic swimmer. I'd venture to say you're probably a better swimmer than I was just because I think you swam a good amount, right? If I remember.
Yeah, I swam and played water polo, but that was just because in Northeast Ohio, there was only 3 or 4 things to do. And if you weren't playing, basketball, football, baseball, you were a swimmer or some sort of, lacrosse was actually popular down in Columbus or something, but I wasn't rich enough to play lacrosse. So it was literally just one of those things. So I just happened to be, I always laugh when people are like, oh yeah, everybody's a really good swimmer. No, they are not. There are tons of people that just barely get by through selection and dive school. And, that goes across everywhere. The bunch of eels that are the average and sometimes below average swimmers that just had to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I am not fast at all when it comes to the water. But I'm comfortable. I love going underwater. So playing sharks and minnows or something like that. That's my jam. I'm good at that unless I'm getting chased. And then I'm just, but if I remember right, the rules are they got to bring it to the surface. It's not just a tag thing. So that's where I would have the advantage. I'd always get caught, but I could usually hold my breath longer, or I was comfortable enough to wrestle under the water and get away. So
just wait them out. I like it. That's a good move.
It. Well, it's like at NDOC, when they start doing gator rolls on you or messing with you in the water, I just go limp and then just
go limp.
Wouldn't even give them
a big rubbery
satisfaction.
One. We're just going to wait this out.
Exactly. So aligned with that, the other one was you have to be a physical specimen to be successful in SOF. You have to be more physically ready and physically fit than other people. Yes, but to think that you have to be some Olympian that is not the case. I mean, we've talked about it many times. It's, 80% mental, 20% physical. I know, Chief McCoy said, hey, it's 60-40, but like whatever, some people, the percentages are different probably, but like you could be an average physically. I mean, you probably are physically fit more than the rest of the population, but you don't have to be an Olympian or a collegiate athlete to make it through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say this all the time. We are not like the world's fittest subculture. Like we just aren't. Like just like everything else, we have all of these things that we got to do. Your fitness goes in ebbs and flows, just like any normal person. Sometimes you're in great shape. Sometimes you hit a stretch. You go on a deployment where you can really dial in nutrition and really dial in your fitness, and you come home and you feel great. And then there are some times where work just crushes you, and you're working 18-hour days, locked into some vault somewhere, and you really don't have time to prioritize your fitness because that's not your goal at that time. So I always say there's, CrossFit athletes, and there's people out there like, professional athletes and stuff. They're way fitter as communities. Like they just are. Not everybody's a Superman, and surprise, nobody starts off like that either. I love hearing the stories of, and I think we all have them. And, you go down the line when you start out selection, just by looks, you see those physical specimens where you're like, okay, you're definitely going to make it. You're definitely going to make it. And the smoke clears at the end of that selection. All those guys are gone. All those show ponies that are just jacked. And of course you have some of those guys that are just, absolute complete freaks that we all know that are in the career field. But
yeah,
as a standard, yeah, but as a standard, man, it is what it is. You don't need to be an Olympian. You don't need to be that perfect specimen of everything, top 2% of the CrossFit games all the time. It's not a thing. It's not sustainable for what we do.
Nope. I mean, you do have some of those guys, you got your beaches that are out there doing incredible things. I mean, so we do have those physical specimens. It's just, I mean, you're talking about 1% or less than 1% of the soft community. So,
well, and people that use that as a reason that they don't start, that they're just like, well, I'm not this beast, and I'm not killing everybody at every event that I'm going to and all this other stuff, so I'm going to wait. Man, what are you waiting for? Like you're surprised, guys and girls, you might not get there. It might not be a thing. You might be at the tip of your genetic fear for as good as you can possibly get. And it might be just one rep over everything you need to do. And then it's all mental from there. So.
Yep. Next one. And I don't really understand what they're getting at for this, because I no kidding, these are verbatim. So I got hurt guy. So I think that's probably not a hit or a stereotype on soft dudes. I think that's probably the people that you'll see in the rest of the Air Force or Army, Navy, Marines that, hey, I could have done this. This is where I'm guessing this is going. Like, hey, I would have done it, or I could have done it, or I wanted to do it, but I got hurt or bad knee. Now there's legitimately people out there that, they wanted to serve, they wanted to do it, but they just didn't meet the, they had vision problems or hearing problems or something like that. They couldn't pass a color vision test or, whatever. And I'm sure there's some legitimate people out there that did get some kind of debilitating injury and couldn't do it. So that's not discounting them, but I think overwhelmingly there is a lot of
those people are infinitesimally small.
Yeah.
The amount of people that really hurt themselves and that really couldn't continue, and that was the only reason they didn't make it through selection, infinitesimally small. The number of people that are like, oh, bro, listen, I could have been a PJ, but it was just like the water. If it wasn't for the water, man, like I would have been fine. If it wasn't for the rucking in the Q course, I would have been cool to be in special forces, but it's just the ruck, man. It's just hurt my knees. Like, get out of here, my guy.
Did you ever put a ruck on? Did you ever get in the pool just to try it, or did you just say, nope, I ain't doing it?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's pretty funny. And again, verbatim, jocks that played football and like to hit their heads on things.
Listen, you need a tool for every job, and somebody's got to carry that 240. All right. There's a lot of times when you need somebody to carry the heavy stuff, and those guys are useful. There are those people. There was a student that was going through the PJ pipeline. I won't say his name because he did not end up making it, but he was absolutely like the quintessential, like he would have been a great machine gunner somewhere, 11 Bravo, or, one of those other career fields where he just had to be just hard, because he would just be like, hey, run faster. He'd just be like, okay, carry more weight. All right. But he, no kidding, just completely screwed up like this entire, it was a academic exercise. He just screwed it up. I mean, just from start to finish, it was terrible. Like to the point where the instructor was just like, what are you doing, my dude? So he's like, you need to prove to us that you want to be here. You can't just not be, you have to be smarter than this. You have to be more in tune to learning the stuff that we need you to learn. So it was hilarious. But as he was doing pull-ups, he, no kidding, had the 240, the 249. So he had the saw, he had some ammo on him, he had his ruck on, and he was doing pull-ups at this camp that we use for tactics. And he did like 6 or 8, like just strict dead hang pull-ups. And every time he came up, he's like, I do want to be here, Mr. Dickin. Except the guy's name was Mr. Dickin. Like there was no S on it. So it was like the most ironic thing, like that this guy was just like, I do want to be here, Mr. Dickens, like calling him the wrong name. But like, yeah, those dudes are around, and just as much as they're like the really smart, nerdy dudes that are, complete and total house cats, like indoor cats that straight up, don't they Shane Bricky, shout out. Today's like the name drop episode. Shane Bricky used to say, yeah, Shane used to say, oh, I'm more of like an indoor cat PJ, more fair weather PJ, very narrow temperature range. I don't like to be cold. I don't like to be too hot. I don't like to be wet for very long. Just, just right.
I'd actually argue. I mean, I think most of our dudes probably did play sports in some way, but I mean, we have a lot of dudes that never played any kind of team sports, never, maybe they did some martial arts or something like that. But I mean, one of our guys, I won't say his name because he but one of the guys at the unit that we're at right now, I mean, he was an electrician. Like, in won electrical competitions in high school. I mean,
I didn't even know they had that.
I didn't know it was a thing either until we were waiting for the aircraft to leave, and we're just, BS. And he was like, oh yeah, it's, electrician doing competitions in high school. I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing, but I mean, he went to state and I think nationals or something like that, won at state and lost at nationals. Like, holy cow, this is a thing. But I
don't even know what that entails. You got to tell me who that is so that when I come home, I can just be like, what's up, nerd? Tell me when we're done.
All right. So this one is definitely a stereotype because there are way more SEALs than there are SEAL books, but SEALs in their book deals.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I remember knowing quite a few SEALs, even they joke about it. So we don't need to joke about it, but even they are like, God, dude, somebody else got out and wrote a book. You could say the same thing about us having a podcast, really. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
But,
well, and this is what I'll say too. It's not like there's no supply and demand. If people stopped buying SEAL books, if they weren't so successful, dudes would stop writing them. I think that's going to change too, because I think that's just, we talked about it a little bit last time we were together, but getting this information out there, the stigma of, I'm not telling you what's going on in selection. You just got to show up and put out. Jocko said, because I'm not a picture guy. Like we took one team picture. It was not in front of helicopters. There were no explosions in the background. We didn't have on cutesy little Hawaiian shirts. Like we just don't do that. That's not part of who we are here. But, Jocko did say as part of Task Force Bruiser, his biggest regret was that they didn't take more pictures because he thinks about the guys and the times that they had. And he never really put those down into history. And he never really got to look back and remember those guys, especially the guys that they lost, because they did lose a lot of guys out there. So he had a pretty interesting take on it. And I think there's a line, Jimmy Settle wrote a book. Roger Sparks wrote a book. Those books are great. Like if you haven't read Roger Sparks's book, I believe it's called The Warrior's Path, or it's got Warrior in the title. And then Jimmy Settle wrote a book as well, and they're fantastic. They really are, and they're good PJ books. I think they're on the reading list, so check those out. .com. But I think the stigma behind those are changing. The SEALs just got there first, and they were overwhelming book superiority. They've got a lot of them.
Yeah, I didn't know that Jocko kind of brought that up. That's interesting because I was always the dude that liked to take pictures, not like photography pictures. Just I like to capture the moment, and I'm really glad I did because I haven't been quiet about my TBI and memory, and like I'm losing my memory like crazy. But
right,
I have thousands upon thousands of pictures and videos saved on my computer, and I'll go looking for another picture, like something that's not even related, and I'll come across pictures, and there are times, whether I'm deployed, training, or even just with family, that I forgot, like completely
you legit
forgot that
don't remember.
happened, right?
Yeah,
and then I'll start looking, and it'll help spark some stuff, and I'm like, but then I remember, like, oh yeah, we were stationed together. Oh yeah, I remember this so and so, And at the time, everybody was kind of pissed, like, dude, put the camera away, like, like we don't want this, I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be, which is fine, which is why we're very selective about, what we post, especially some of the historical.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so glad I did. And now, like, as guys are retiring, like, Colonel White is, on his way out as a group, 30 something years in. And I fired him off some pictures a couple of weeks ago that I just happened to come across as I was looking for some others. And he's like, dude, I've never seen these before. Thank you so much. Like, this takes me right back.
Crazy.
And it's like,
yeah, that
is why, because the times that you will spend in this career field, or even just call it your military career, because this is a lot of military folks, you take it for granted while you're in, but once you realize, like, hey, this journey or this train is ending, like you really will start to reminisce on some of those times, whether they're good or bad. Like there's some legitimate, and it's not tangible, but like it's good to reminisce. So
yeah, well, and it'll key into like entire blocks of time that you just forgot. You'll be like, oh, holy crap, I forgot about that whole trip, or I eliminated that whole TDY or that whole month or two of deployment or whatever, and it'll, no kidding, just like you just kind of tip that iceberg a little bit, you'll be like, holy cow, I forgot about this entire treasure trove of memories that I had. So yeah.
So yeah, that's SEALs and their book deals. That was a tangent.
Got it, yeah.
All right, next one. CCTs are insane in some ways. Yeah. I mean, isn't everybody?
I think, the whole, the unofficial motto of the pararescue community was, we're all mad, for the longest time. Guys, the Cheshire Cat is a career thing that we have. A lot of guys have the Cheshire Cat tattooed, and that was a part of our culture for a long time. Controllers are crazy though. They're a special brand, especially, rest in peace to the Harvell brothers, but Andy and Sean, I know, you worked with both of them, and, I worked with Andy very, very briefly at the 321st before he left, but man, insane dudes, and insane on, both at work and, off duty. And sometimes that whole the controllers are crazy, man. I can actually think of a lot of dudes that are pretty crazy. So
yeah. I'm not disputing it. So we're just not all crazy, at least in our own eyes, anyway. I'm sure everybody else thinks that, people think you're crazy for jumping out of planes and wanting to deploy and that kind of stuff. It's just what we do. It's what we are. But the next one is PJs. Want to see me tie some knots?
Yeah. Oh, you're a PJ? Show me every knot on the face of the planet then. How dare you?
Build me a 3-to-1.
Build me a 3-to-1 right now. We had the most PJ thing ever. We had a rope corral for the base. And our young man, Noah, was leading the rope corral for the base. And Noah is your quintessential hippie, tree hugging surfer dude, PJ. And it could not have been any more stereotypical. And I was laughing extremely hard in the background. Like I would walk around and help somebody, you know, tie some knots here and there. And I was just laughing. I was like, oh man, if this ever got out to the world, like this is just a meme waiting to happen.
So was that just within the unit or the entire base? Because who else is participating in a knot corral?
Hey man, everybody. We had the fire department was there. EOD showed up. We had some security forces. Some defenders were out there. We had some Army cats. So the Army security forces element that's here is actually from the Northeast, and a lot of them have been through mountain school. So if it's part of their thing. They're not with the 10th, but they're a guard unit that's up there. So they've been to the mountain warfare school. So it's a pretty big thing for them to go to. So of course you had some interest from people that are trying to go, and some of their mountain warfare course graduates. So it's good. It's a good turnout. We had quite a few people actually. I was pretty proud.
Wow. I never would have thought. I'm sure there were hacky sacks flying everywhere.
There were no shoes to be had.
Yeah, no slack lines put up everywhere.
Dude, no, he has a slack line too. That's not a joke.
Sure
That's what we use for the rope corral.
Of course he did.
Got him.
Oh man! All right, this one. I guess it's probably true. It's SR. Nobody knows. It's valid. We try.
Okay. Yeah.
We try. We're trying to put out information, but understand that this is a new career field. It's a new capability, at least as far as ASOC's concerned, and it's being developed right now. So we're not being coy. We're not being secretive about it. We don't want to put out wrong information, and we also don't want to put out sensitive information either that could end up getting us, some kind of OPSEC violation or getting the video or the audio taken down as well. So we're just keeping a close hold right now until all that stuff gets finalized, and then we can release stuff. So next one, tacpies can't swim, but does all the cool things CCT wish they did. Yeah. I mean, hey, I'll tell you right now.
Except be soft. I mean, yeah, cool. I mean, the tacpies got a good job. Like there's no doubt about it. They've got a great job. And if, especially, after talking to Roomba and Ben and some of the other tacpies that we've had on, like that is a tough job, sitting in a tank, freaking maneuvering around the battlefield, doing any kind of JTAC stuff, in the mountains, airborne, after jumping. Like it's a tough job. It's just a different job. That's all it is. And I mean, those guys are out jobbing as well, and then, most of them, you kind of alluded to it, Aaron, but most of them are, at least you have to start off on the conventional side of the house, which is great because that's where most of those guys are anyway. And then we hold an additional assessment and selection for the guys that are then going to come into ASOC. And then we have a couple, several units that they can go to within ASOC. And those dudes are some of the most professional and tactically savvy dudes that even exist. They're amazing. Yep. Yeah. No shade to the TACP boys. I don't know if they can swim though. We'll find out. That stuff just went live for them. So better get them pool TACP boys.
PJs have good hair because it's the most true. Well,
that's not even a stereotype. That's just an accepted fact. It was in the Geneva Conventions. So moving on.
This one's kind of a bummer. If this is legitimately a stereotype, this is kind of a bummer that we definitely need to fix. SEER are just failed TACP CCT PJs.
I mean, that's so there's jokes that you'll give in the team room to everybody, and I've made the joke about, you've never ever heard of a PJ that was a failed controller, but you've heard of failed, the other way around, essentially. I screwed that one up. So, You know, but it's jokes. You know what I mean? Like, that's definitely not true. I don't believe that. There's plenty of good people that came in wanting to be SEER because they want that job. And that job, I'll be honest with you, it's one of the most diverse jobs that we have inside of kind of the umbrella or the adjacent umbrella where they are. And yeah, you can go do just regular air crew training, or you can work up at Washington. They'll do a stint as an instructor to start off up at Washington. But being a SEER specialist, you can get yourself into some of the most secretive, furthest left of bang jobs out there. And it's really, really interesting. And especially where we're going now, I think where we're going in the next 10 years, the next 15 years, you're going to see a lot more interest in SEER because they have a very, very specific mission capability that isn't really well explored or well known. And when we'll put two and two together of what that brings to the fight for SEER, I think you're going to have a lot of people that are like, dude, SEER specialist is for me. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's fun. I guess it's okay to joke about that, but unless you're like a PJ making that joke, or unless you're a SEER guy making that joke, I don't know if I'd be somebody that's like never put anything on the line to try to do anything, saying, oh, well, they're just all failed SEER guys. Oh, SEER guys are all failed tacpies. Go say that to a SEER guy. Have fun.
Well, I will say, you know, we can't tell. Maybe there's some jest involved in there. You know, just sure. You can't tell over text, and it's not like that question box on the gram gives you a whole lot of space to really get into some nuanced answers. But yeah,
I really want you to elaborate in 46 characters.
Exactly. But you know, it's are there some SEER folks that probably didn't make it? Yeah, sure, there probably are. But like I'd say that's, you know, the exception, not the rule. So
right.
Next, SEALs are too gung-ho, love the book deals, and are idolized too much. I don't think we need to address that one, but I do want to address the very next one, which is all SOF are mega chads or frat guys.
I like it. I like it. I love the mega chad reference. So well done to whoever came up with the mega chad reference. There's definitely places that are like, and I think we've already hit it. You know, I'll only speak for, you know, my specific community and the community that I work in. I will say that CCTs, the combat control guys, are way more bro-tastic than the PJ guys. Although the PJ guys do have our chads and our bros out there. So looking from the outside in, yeah, I got it. It can definitely look like a fraternity. It can definitely look bro-y. We definitely do dumb things. Like we have one too many alcoholic drinks and we hug each other, and people are like, to Valhalla, brother. And they get all serious with one another. And I got it, man. Like, I think that's a pretty good one. If it's not samurais or Spartans or Vikings, or I don't know, like what are we supposed to have on patches? Is it revolvers and skulls with bandanas now, or is it samurais, or is it Vikings? I'm not sure. Like, sure.
Or is it, you know, our own motorcycle club? You know,
I forgot about the motorcycle club. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know,
we're all gonna have colored bandanas, and you're on red team, so you have a colored bandana, and we wear leather jackets, get neck tats.
Oh man, yeah. Yep. Right. Enough on that. Man, there's a lot. Boy, I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of people that are on the SEAL book deal thing.
It's a bad joke. It's like it's the low hanging fruit, right? Like,
it's
what are some soft stereotypes? Right, exactly. Like, I don't want to think too hard about this. Oh, SEAL wrote a book. Oh, PJ's tie knots. Oh. Okay.
Well, this one kind of goes back to the very first one, that everybody's an Olympic swimmer, but we're all ripped, apparently. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you, I ain't ripped. I'm rocking right now. Tactical dad bod,
man. Yeah. Tactical dad bod. Right, that's the way to go.
And that's not by choice. Yeah. That's not by choice. That's just by, scheduling and I'll be upfront, bad diet. Like, I've gotten in a habit of crushing some ice cream, like, and I got to get out of it.
Oh, yeah, so good.
I like some ice cream, but
I will say I'm not quite to this quite there yet. So I kind of have an idea of what I want in that first couple of days for food when I get to the house. So at the end for everybody that doesn't know, you kind of get to the end of a work trip, a longer one, and you start thinking, hey, when I'm at home, here's some stuff I'm going to do. I'm looking forward to having a bathroom that's attached to my living area. That's going to be pretty dope. I'm looking forward to that bathroom, the closest bathroom to my living area. It's going to be a bathroom that flushes and not a porta potty. That's going to be pretty dope. I'm excited about that, you know? However, I'm not quite to the area where I'm planning which meals I want yet, but I got a couple of cheat meals coming up at home. I got a couple of restaurants in mind in the Pacific Northwest that I want there. So get your ice cream recommendations in order. Maybe I'll have to throw it. I don't know what it is about caramel M&Ms. If I have those around the house, forget it. I have to get a smaller bag because the family size bag, I don't know how many calories is in that. 60,000. I don't know. 700 grams of sugar. I don't care. They're delicious. They're the best M&Ms. Don't at me.
Yeah, if it's in the house, I'm eating it. And which
forget
sucks.
It. Sober.
I've got zero discipline when it comes to that, and it's terrible.
I don't have any self-control.
I'm sitting here spouting self-control and discipline and that kind of stuff as I'm fucking stuffing my face. Yeah, you guys should be out training.
As you're just spooning mint chocolate chip into your face.
Where my kids are just coming down looking at me like, what's wrong with you?
Dad, you don't even have a bowl. You just have a spoon. That's not how we do things. You're just like, get out of here, you two.
Man. Yeah. All right. Next is we alluded to this already, but this is kind of cool. Especially since it's just me and you. PJs are tree huggers and CCTs are angered, drunken, and divorced with excessive tattoos.
Okay, well, first of all, PJs have plenty of tattoos and plenty of divorces. So let me just put that stereotype to bed right there. I don't know what it is. It is something different about the culture, though. And, you know, when I took over, the job that I have now, it was funny because one of my senior guys on there was a PJ as well. It's one of the first times in ST that, the officer was a Crow. The enlisted leader dude was a PJ, and then my team sergeant was a PJ as well. So it was funny. We would just have moments where we'd get together and we would just be like, man, some of these other troops in this building really hate their guys. They really want to beat them to death. Like controllers eat their young like no other. It was just hilarious. But we, no kidding, looked at each other one day and we were just like, are we soft? Are we really the tree hug? Because people would come into our room and be like, come here. Which controller was mean to you? Okay, tell us about it. What did he say? Okay, well, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. That just means he's having a bad day. Come on, let's talk about it. Okay, do you feel better? All right, cool. But it's something tribal about PJs. Maybe it is that the JTAC, the classic JTAC mission is just putting bombs on target, and if people happen to be there, hopefully it's a lot so you can tell the story. And the difference between the PJs of going, and the whole reason why you're there is to hang out, hand out hugs and hand out boo-boo packs and Band-Aids to the people that get hurt on the teams and stuff. So who knows?
Yeah, there's definitely, there was a time I'd say that it is less now. Yeah. We got a lot of ink. You got the Harleys that are sitting out front. What I have noticed though, with the new, since we had in the last podcast, I don't know the order that these will go out, but when I reference Gen Z, typically they're extremely, at least the ones that we are getting are extremely in shape and stuff like that, but they're drinking a lot less or not at all as well.
Yep.
So I noticed that we went through a time, and we're still we still have people in it, but lots of tattoos, lots of divorces, lots of excessive drinking, or not excessive drinking, but like to booze, right? Maybe it is excessive.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know. And now I'm seeing a lot of dudes. Like it used to be, I was the only one that didn't drink. Right. I don't have to everybody out there, I don't even have a sip. I just don't like it. I don't like the taste. Anything like that. It's not that I've got a history or anything like that. I drank some tequila and I just go off the rails. It's not like that.
Right.
Actually, I'm sure if I did, I probably would. But But now it's actually fairly common now that there are dudes that like, yeah, just I have one drink or I just don't drink, just because they don't
Yeah.
really like it. It's definitely a cultural shift that's happening right now. And I think for the better. But
yeah, it's definitely a good one. You still have your, occasional teams that they definitely, that's part of the stuff, but we have, 4 or 5 guys on our team that just don't drink.
yeah.
It's just not a thing for them. And when we have big parties and stuff, thankfully it's become one of those things where it's completely normalized. And it's just one of those things where guys are just like, oh yeah, that guy just doesn't drink. Where, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, which is a weird thing to come out of my mouth, by the way. It's weird for me to be like, oh, 10 or 15 years ago. But you would go to parties and they would 100%, they'd be like, oh, that guy doesn't drink. Why? What's your problem? Why aren't you having a beer?
I can't trust a guy that didn't drink.
Can't trust a guy that doesn't drink. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a weird thing to say. High functioning alcoholic guy.
Not my problem then, I guess.
Sounds like a you problem, my dude.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, on to the next. Some of these are reattacks on stuff. I feel like people view soft guys less like people with no feelings than just straight killers. I guess we're supposed to be robots okay, no kidding though, but that's the way that Hollywood and movies and TV shows present us. They either present us as stone cold killers where no feelings, there's no, robots basically, or they portray us as these broken war veterans that
just broken.
Unhinged, need to be watched carefully. Like there's no in between, which is complete BS. Like, I'm sure there are some people that could tell you that I am robotic, but maybe I'm robotic in some ways. I would think that however many episodes we are in now, 80, 90, whatever this one is, that I am obviously not very robotic.
Right. Yeah. I hate that too. And what was the Bradley Cooper movie? Was it American Sniper where he played,
Chris Kyle?
Chris Kyle. Yeah. That was one of the best portrayments of kind of the in between, because it was the first time that I'd seen it done well in a movie. Even in Fury did a really good job of it. Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks did a pretty good job of some of those moments, but it's an in between. Like we're just people that try to figure this shit out every day, and we have a long there's a lot of stuff in a career that real humans are not supposed to see. I always defer to my little brothers. Both of my little brothers spent somewhere between 30 and 45 months each of their lives in Iraq between 2005 and 2012. That was not a great time to be there. Like 2005, 2008, 2010. That was a crappy time to be there. And there was a lot of death and destruction and trauma that have happened. So we little brothers in the Army, that we can have, those talks and be there for each other. But humans aren't supposed to go through that, man. You're not supposed to have to deal with that. So, and some guys handle it really, really well, and some guys handle it really poorly. But what people need to understand is that robotic, never dealing with your feelings and never talking about it, that's not a great way to deal with it. I guess if that's your thing and you're able to maintain healthy relationships and be okay living like that, okay. I can't do that. I can't just turn that off. Like I'll be open and honest about it. I have terrible, terrible days, and I have days where I feel like I'm not dealing well, and we all have gradations of what that looks like. And yeah, there are some guys that are really broken and they're really screwed up by it, but everybody else pretty much lives in that middle ground. They're just trying to figure it out. So yeah, it is kind of a stereotype that people will get that, yeah, they're either these hardcore Terminator-like individuals that they just go to work and they just do the job and come home and it never affects them. Okay. I've known a guy or two like that. And I've also known a guy or two that really had problems and really didn't deal with it well and had substance abuse issues and serious mental issues dealing with the fallout from that stuff. But those are kind of the two ends of the spectrum. And then everybody else lives somewhere in the middle.
Yep. Exactly right. Okay. On to the next. Just got a couple more here that will crush. This one, it's Copenhagen. Everybody does Copenhagen. No, but I tell you what, there are a lot.
A lot of dudes that dip, right?
lot of dudes dip, and especially there are people that only dip when they're out in the field for whatever reason. When they're out in the field and they're patrolling or something like that, or they will throw in a fat lipper, and that's just their thing. Like that's their ritual, or even apparently it'll help keep you awake too. So if you're, but I don't know, because I tell you what, if I were to throw one of those in, I'd be on the floor puking probably. Oh,
so I can tell you so I dipped for a long time. So I dipped when I was at home. Like I picked it up when I was working in bars and stuff before I ever got into the military. There were times when I couldn't do it. So I'd pick it up and put it back down. I was never buying logs of chew every single day or logs of dip, but there were definitely like long stretches of my life where I would have a dip in my mouth, or I dipped and whatever. I remember, and I can tell you, the very last person to give me a dip was Brian. And we were in England. I swear, I remember this like it was yesterday. It was one of the most crystallized moments. Brian and I were going through Rocco as very young PJs, and we were standing there. We were doing this event, and he had Kodiak, because that's what Brian dipped back in the day, was Kodiak. So it was like wintergreen. So I was like, oh, you know what? I have not had a dip in a long time. Why don't you give me one of those? Let me get a little one of these. He's like, here you go. So he throws me his can, tap it up. I throw a dip in. It was in my mouth for about, I don't know, 15 seconds. And I was like, huh, get this out of there. I can't do that. That was 2008, like 2009. I have not put a dip in my mouth since then. I have not. And I don't know what it was. Like I used to dip Kodiak wintergreen. That was my thing. It was not, I just took enough time off of it. I put it in my mouth and that was it. I was like, nope, never again. But yeah, Brian gave me my last dip way a long time ago now, 12 years ago. Yep.
Oh, man, again, I would be head out the window on the floor, just.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody'd love to get that on video.
I know, that'd be a great one.
We covered this already, but the operator uniform outside of actually being in uniform, so we don't need to address that again. But that is definitely.
Dudes can't get away from it.
Plaid shirt, khaki pants, scuffed up Solomons, and a scuffed up hat. Like, absolutely.
Or it's like my favorite one is like they go the opposite way, where they have to wear just ridiculous clothing. Like, oh, I'm going to wear suspenders and a bow tie to this event because I want to, like, I'm going to wear. It's hilarious. Like, I love the dudes in the Pacific Northwest who are like, I'm not wearing an off-duty operator uniform. Oh, really? Are you wearing fitted jeans and a buffalo flannel and a trucker hat and a pair of big boots? You look like, come on, guy.
I will say the tying in the Copenhagen and then the operator uniform would be the round, just,
the ring on the pocket.
Yeah, the ring on the pocket.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
What do you got there? Oh, it's tuna. Okay, get out of here, my guy. Come on, my dude.
Oh man! All right, there's a couple more, but they're kind of all reattacks, and then the last one is, and I'm going to enjoy this one. PJs are medics, and all they do is stuff inside combat rescue.
That's it. No, they nailed it. That's not a stereotype. That's completely true. And if that's what you want to do, you should probably go be a controller. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like inside combat rescue, that's the easiest way to tell how old a PJ is. Because if you tell them that, oh yeah, I learned everything I know about PJs from inside combat rescue, if you're old enough, you'll just be like, I hate that show. That show showed, I don't know, the smallest part of the job. Because I mean, it's cool riding a helicopter into a firefight and grabbing a patient and bringing them on and doing that CASEVAC mission, like especially the point of injury, no kidding, high intensity CASEVAC mission. Listen, man, I got it. Cool. I understand why it looked cool on the show, whatever. I love that stereotype though. I love hearing it.
So man, I forget who I was talking with. I was sitting in the team room just the other day, talking to somebody who knows those guys very well. And obviously we know Dwayne and that kind of stuff very well, you probably know more of those guys, but they were saying that so much of that was portrayed inaccurately. And they actually left out so many things that, like, for us, we would go, that's what that's what we want to capture,
Right.
a lot of the action stuff. Whereas I guess, due to editing and certain agendas that people are trying to portray, it was definitely a very soft side. So in the example that he gave is that whoever it was that was writing in the journal, and they kind of, asked him, I guess the way it worked is they asked him to read some of his journal. Like he didn't know he was being filmed. They were, kind of saw him and they were filming him. And then they just kind of came over to him and said, "Hey, will you read, what you wrote?" And they put a mic in front of his face and that kind of stuff. And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Whatever. And then they put it on top of, whatever was being filmed. And it was just really bad.
Yeah. TV is TV, and they needed to make it like, I know a bunch of the inside stuff. I'm actually really good friends. 3 or 4 of those main characters I ended up working with at the same assignment. So, and I won't say which one to say which people, but there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, especially like a lot of those dudes didn't want any part of it. A lot of those dudes were like, hey man, I'll pass on this. I don't really want to be a part of it. I don't really want to be interviewed. And it was more like, well, they're going to be here for this entire time. So, and it's kind of hard to look at people that are the camera people and whoever else. They're just trying to do their jobs, I guess. So it's kind of hard to look at somebody and be like, get out, get away from me, in the moment. So, and I won't speak for them. They can all speak for themselves. But yeah, there was a lot of going on behind the scenes, and some of those personalities, like some of the people that they were just, that they focused on, a lot of the dudes were just like, cool guy. Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Inside Combat Rescue. That's an actual documentary. That's all you do as a PJ. Congratulations. Go watch it.
All right. Well, that wraps up the stereotypes that we received. So I'm glad we got a chance to address some of those. I think those are fun. I like those kind of getting the engagement. So again, thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't. Leave us a review. And then go check out our partners. Today we hit Alpha Brew, promo code Onesready, and get yourself a discount. And Aaron, thanks for joining me today, man.
Always, man. Train hard, everybody. Have a good one.
All right, light up.